There's a ton of good aggressive jungle options to play with, and these two teams, I think, are certainly willing to change things around a lot to play the strategy they think is best for their team to win. And in a meta this open, I think that's essential.
Yeah, looking at the players, you would expect a lot of the bans for Clutch Gaming to target Huni and Dardoch. You know, the two big stars for this team, the Bash brothers, that have really been able to take over games. Whereas from the side of EchoFox, probably want to focus a little bit more on some of those flexible picks. We already talked about Lulu. Zoe is actually something that is one of the few champions that's really only like played in the mid lane and doesn't move around too much, but it's another chip there away from Febiven, trying to put him onto something else.
Hakuho, we're going to lose his Morgana as well, where it's Aurelia, Shen, and that Yasuo we saw from Huni yesterday taken off for the Clutch Gaming's first 3 bans. So a pick to come. We'll see where they want to be going. Do they make it a flex pick? Do they pick one of the kind of 3-ish marksmen that we have seen running around? Do they just take a jungler? Let LirA get aggressive?
Well, the Graves yesterday did work wonders for them. He was definitely able to deal plenty of damage. 28% of the team's damage, which was more than anyone else on the team. More than Apollo, who had been playing the Vladimir bottom lane in the carry position. But it really was a jungle carry game.
And Taliyah left open. Will go somewhere. I just saw Dardoch look up at his coach though, so I get the feeling it's for the jungle, which is where we have been seeing it.
Right, because a lot of the changes that made her strong in the jungle actually were chips away in the weaknesses of the mid lane there. Because it's not AoE anymore, with her Q, with the threaded volley, the rocks coming through on the minions, it's a little bit harder for Taliyah to shove the wave as a mid laner by herself and get her roaming opportunities. However, in the jungle, you get full damage with all the rocks hitting on jungle monsters, and you also have really good gank tools because her mobility is insane now. She got a bunch of flat move speed. The passive was also buffed up as far as the move speed and has become basically the premier jungle champion, especially for solo queues. So we definitely expect that one to go to Dardoch, and it will be a very interesting matchup because going into Graves, is definitely one of the more difficult ones.
Well, there's also a Lucian on the EchoFox side. We'll have to see where that goes. But I think no matter which lane it ends up in, Huni's a pretty strong candidate to take that champion. And Rakan here for LirA may signal Xayah as well for Apollo. But we'll see what they are thinking. Rakan, of course, has been kind of a top-tier support since MSI this year. And actually is Syndra for Febiven locked in quite early.
So they get both of the two that I was talking about last game with kind of countering each other. Now Syndra and Rakan, really, really good combinations for long-range engagements onto squishy champions. And while Taliyah does have a lot of power from the jungle because of high damage and high mobility, she still is a mage, still is fairly squishy. So if they can catch her with one of those crowd control abilities, then it does make it easy work for either the Syndra or the Graves to come through and try and finish them off. But yeah, the Lucian you're talking about, this is definitely a flexible pick. Could go to the bottom lane, could be Huni on it. Altec was very happy about playing top lane and playing, Mundo up there, so maybe he'll try his hand at another tank.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Huni could be bottom lane and could be on the Lucian, just as a reminder. We'll see just how carry-oriented he is feeling. Braum, though, the pickup back kind of signals that it's going to be paired with the Lucian, but that's absolutely not necessarily true as Aatrox and Ornn band away here.
We have seen the gold funneling strategy with Taliyah as well, so it could be a mid lane Braum taking the Targons, trying to hold minions for Taliyah and trying to get a super powered Taliyah fed super early on. The options are definitely there, and that's one of the exciting things about trying to figure out champ select nowadays. And looks like both teams have turned their sights towards the top side with Ornn and Aatrox bans coming through.
Also Vladimir taken away from Apollo if the very small amount of history from the summer that we have is to be believed. So Clutch now with their final ban of this draft. We'll see where they want to direct their efforts.
Yeah, one of the big things for Clutch Gaming as well was their consistency with solo on tanks from the top side. Solo actually had very good, on a wide variety of tanks, top lane performances. The Ornn was great for him, the Sion was great for him, and he looked like he was very comfortable in that role for the team. And right now the lineup could use a bit more health, a bit more, beast at 5-on-5. So it's interesting that they are banning out two of the main tanks there in the Ornn and the Mundo.
Yeah, Mundo getting banned also away from Altec that we have seen. So if there is an expected swap from Huni into the bot lane, then it is smart to take that away. But there's a Rengar now in this draft, Kobe, so enjoy.
Rengar means Dardoch to me. You know, this guy's been playing Rengar for years. He loves this champion. It recently got reverted as far as the Q, back to the single target auto attack one, and he has been one of the guys that's put in a lot of work in solo Q, still keeping up Rengar mechanics. And that just makes me think 100% it is Dardoch. I technically could still have it as like, you know, a bottom lane Rengar. That has happened as well. You can have a, you know, the bot lane carry position, or even a top lane carry position. So now the Taliyah and the Rengar kind of fill similar spaces. And talk about flex picks, Pastry.
Yeah,
it's very difficult for Clutch Gaming to nail down which lane assignments are going to go where.
And I think these picks kind of make sense. The result seems pretty sturdy champion, and Apollo's just like, I feel quite unsafe. I'll take Ezreal here and just kind of hope to
There's a Rengar. I don't feel
any
safe.
bot lane.
Well, it's a really good point, though, because with Ezreal up, you know, that's one of the few AD carries that can actually live through a Rengar, right? You can build an Iceborne Gauntlet, get some early armor, you have Arcane Shift built in, and Pastry is just losing his mind here, laughing his butt off.
Yeah, it's a Ryze and a Taliyah and a Rengar all in one game. I guess we'll wait 20 seconds and see if there's any more swaps around, but don't worry, there could be even more than that, because the players are allowed to go anywhere they like on Summoner's Rift once they have left the fountain. So right now I see Huni with Taliyah and a Smite. So I'm getting some inklings of what might be happening here.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're just playing games right now. What's the cutoff for swapping champions? Was it 20 seconds, actually?
Yeah, it's gone.
Okay, so Huni...
They can just summon a spell.
Huni is actually going to be the one on the Taliyah. He is taking Smite, as you mentioned. And this is a guy who has been very outspoken about, I can play any champion, I can play any position. He even talks about he can play any game at the highest level, let alone just League of Legends. So we're seeing Huni flex his muscles once again. He played bottom lane yesterday, and now he's going to be able to play the Taliyah with a Smite and run around wherever he really wants, honestly.
Whenever you ask Huni questions about, you know, who are the best, you always ask who's the second best, because Huni's going to say, I'm the best at whatever you're about to ask me. And he's going to try and prove it here. Throw some jungle chops on Taliyah.
Yeah, I actually fell in love with the Taliyah jungle really early on. As soon as those changes came through, tweeting out all the good things about it, right? You know, the extra damage there for the jungle. But one of the biggest ones is the move speed to me. And that is one of the key components if you are trying to have one player really carry the game. If that champion is very mobile and you allow them to make the choices of being anywhere on the map, not only does she have her passive to run through past jungle walls and stuff like that to beef it up, that also got a buff, but also her ultimate, once that becomes available, you get to pull off dives, you can cut off minion waves, you can get very creative. And this is definitely going to be a fun one.
Well, there's been a lot to digest after week 1 of the NALCS. This game, no exception. And Freak, Adrian and Huni will be on NALCS tonight to answer your questions. Send them on Twitter using the hashtag NALCS and ask Huni if he's the best jungler in the world. He's probably going to say yes.
Yeah, best jungler, best bottom laner, best top laner, best mid laner. It actually...
Best manager, best coach. He's got it all.
It reminds me, so our director, Clark Claky D, used to be a player in League of Legends here. Has one of his goals for the internal tournament is to win Riot Rumble at every position. It feels kind of like Huni's set his goal this year as win on the LCS stage at every position. So technically this could be you know, his jungle one. Dardoch obviously does have the teleport there on the Rengar. Going to play on the top Rengar. A lot of jungle players will, you know, when they get autofilled and stuff like that, play some jungle champions up on the top side. So like we said, he has a lot of games on Rengar. This isn't one of the situations where it's a player who feels uncomfortable on a champion or on a role. And it was probably a situation where it's like, okay, if I'm playing top lane, you know, give me something I have a lot of time in the Rengar, and can actually perform well later on in the game too.
I just like the idea that also, you know, the relationship between Dardoch and Huni is top jungle. Oh, never mind. We'll talk about that later, because Dardoch's looking to solo.
Going to the brush.
Again, yeah, you can't run that way. Dardoch's like, yeah, that's not the right way to run. And doesn't quite chase all the way through, but a lot of damage early on.
Yep, Dardoch here, able to get the brush control with Rengar. You're hopping out consistently to try and get harassment down, as well as those last hits. He's able to chase solo off there, who, once he realized, oh, we're running into the tri-brush, that's going to give him more distance to chase with, turns back around. It is going to attract some jungle attention, though, because LirA on the Graves, red buff already, looking to find some vengeance.
Yeah, Huni on bot side, so Dardoch's going to try and leap out of the way. He gets flipped over by Solo, flashes back towards his turret, and will barely stay alive.
Yeah, great job there by Dardoch going back into the brush for a second leap onto LirA to try and get out. Does have to burn his flash, but he has teleport. He can get back to the lane.
And Febiven harassing down onto Fenix, but certainly a player that has a lot of experience on Ryze. Probably just fine in this matchup, which we did see a decent amount of back in what feels like the day, given how long it's been. And bot side, Hakuho and Apollo again lining up against a bit more of a traditional 2v2. And Altec and Adrian looking pretty strong so far with the Lucian and the Braum.
Yeah, they're moving up there. Adrian standing next to Altec. They're able to get the Guardian shield, so even with the EpicSkillshot coming through, they're staying very healthy in the lane. They have control of the minions. They're continually pushing in, and that is going to be able to apply a little bit of extra pressure, and means that Huni will go back to the top side of the map here and continue his clear on this jungle Taliyah. Now, the Taliyah really gains the power once you start getting more levels into the threaded volley, into the Q later on in the game. It is insane what her clear speed becomes. Because the cooldown going down to the flat 3 seconds, also being reduced there, it means that you can just annihilate all the camps as you're walking to your ganks. You barely even have to pause at all to finish them off. So he's just going to finish off with the full clear here. Maybe get a little bit more vision there for Dardoch, pay him back for some of the ganks that Dardoch gave him earlier on in previous seasons.
Yeah, just kind of pops up there and says, "How you doing, buddy?" Was a bit rough before.
Yeah, sorry about that, Graves. Yeah. I'll try and keep him out of your hair here from now on since you don't have your flash.
Well, and does check in, but like you said, just wants to kind of power farm it up and get those levels ASAP. Back here on the bot side, looks like Braum is off on a warding adventure, so for now, Altec gonna have to play a little further back, but good juke out of the W. And now Adrian gonna get aggressive. Ooh, does hit Hakuho actually as Apollo shifts out of the way of that Winter's Bite, but everyone's gonna be okay here in the bot lane.
Yep, testing the waters a little bit. Now, again, we have LirA looking for a possible aggressive move. This is on the bottom side. There's a ward in the brush here, though, so I don't know if Hakuho and Apollo kept track of the ward timings and the trinket ward, or if they're just going to try and brute force this one, but it seems like it could be very difficult. So they didn't actually even keep track of the warding there.
Yeah, LirA just trying to play it safe, I think realizes that...
As soon as Adrian shoots him with a Q, the bush is like, oh, okay.
All right. Well, Hakuho instead will team up with LirA to maybe get some vision. Looks like he's going to recall for now, though, as Huni gonna grab that Scuttle Crab there on the left side, sweep through with the plant, check for more jungle, but nothing left to take.
Yes, great jungle instincts. They see the Graves bottom side, he immediately goes to invade opposite there, takes up the Scuttle Crab. He actually didn't leave any wards, though, deep on those jungle camps. A lot of times you have free time like that, just leaving one on the camp, either that blue buff brush or even going as deep as to get one into wolves, can set you up for plays later. And it looks like, you know, he did have trinket wards available, but he opted to go put them on Raptors instead and control a little bit more of this bottom vision here. A lot of the, actually, wards here being placed from Echo Fox and a lot of river control with the vision. Oh, that one just times out, though, and Dardoch is going to be the recipient of a repeat game.
Yep, flips back in, but again, has some brush control, can maybe threaten Solo, leaps back around, gets level 6. Now gonna have to run, but he's going through the wrong turret. No flash, gets to a minion though, still one hit away. First blood on the table, but Dardoch is trying to get out if he can. Gets the bowler, he's gonna keep trying to run, but LirA has the Q. Doesn't tag him for the back end of it, but he just has nowhere good to go. Another slow, but LirA moves in, shoots him for first blood.
Oh man, his ward literally just timed out. We saw it expire as LirA was walking up to the top side. Even though, even with that though, you know, Dardoch was very far pushed up and he was jumping onto the minions, so it does make it easy for Singe to kind of throw you into that. Regardless, it's a very good repeat gank from LirA to keep up, or keep track of the flash that he had burned earlier and actually get some reward out of it.
You can see the speed here for Huni on the Taliyah, almost level 6, so it can cover even more distance. We'll watch that in just a second as we rewatch the gank.
Oh.
The Acer Predator replay.
Bye-bye ward, but it actually probably wouldn't have mattered, even if he saw him use that blast cone. He would have been in the same position anyway, so yeah. Because he was right next to Solo, flips him in. Dardoch, though, good presence of mind to and keeping his wits about him to go for the level 6. He's trying to get the minions. At first I thought he was just trying to get gold before he dies by focusing on the minions, but he also is able to get his level 6, uses ult for speed to delay more time. That does mean that he's not going to, you know, go bottom with his first respawn ultimate. Sometimes you can see top lane Rengars do. on their first backs or something like that if he's able to buy. But gonna go right back to lane and try and push that one out again.
Yeah, not doing too bad either, but see if he maybe plays a little safer, though his flash is back, so maybe still feeling pretty frisky. Goldo going to the right place on the Clutch Gaming side. LirA was the guy that really kind of stepped back up on the Graves before. Now being given the extra first blood goal. We'll see if he can bully around Huni. He made a transfer to the jungle today, but he is just power farming. Takes down the Crab and even going to start the Ocean Drake as well as Adrian and Altec going to roam up to help him.
Yeah, one of the other thing, as we said, so much single target damage from Taliyah with her threaded volley. As long as you keep moving to new ground that's not been worked on before and you get all of the rocks thrown, you can definitely burn down a dragon. Their bottom lane comes up, helps out with it, and that is a nice objective for EchoFox to secure. So even though Huni wasn't able to get off any ganks or anything, didn't try and take advantage of any of the laning positions, he was able to farm up, and they were able to still get an objective for themselves. Dardoch kind of paid the price for that one, though, with the top side focus from LirA.
Yep, and he's back here on the side of the map. He's going to dodge around that ward in the tri-bush, so Dardoch in danger of getting dove.
Flash is now back up for Dardoch, so we'll see if he can try and outplay this one. It is going to be a big minion wave that he's going to lose regardless, so that's why it's a good play there from LirA, even if he doesn't get a flash or anything. He moves Dardoch away from this cannon minion wave. Oh, Dardoch actually goes back in for it.
That might have been a little too far forward. LirA looking to chase, splashes forward, has the old line set up, and just takes him down. Huni going to ride back in with the ult, but it's a 2v2 with Solo. Also there with Phoenix. LirA a little too low. Huni going to try and take him out, but the smite is good. Huni flashes, does get the kill on the stun. Barely misses from Febiven. Now going to flick them both back out, and Huni!
I mean, the guy has got mechanics for every champion, and very, very quick decision making there. You can see the different things that pop up. He turns around, he smites a Krug for extra health, he already flashed the stun, then he's also able to get the seismic shove, pushing them backwards, which is something that you see junglers who first picked up the champion mess up, wrong direction of that ability, but definitely impressive, from Huni. Here goes Dardoch though, so this is definitely the call made from EchoFox. Hey, we're going to go for the top lane play here to try and collapse with a teleport and Taliyah ultimate, but Dardoch goes a bit too early for the rest of the team. Huni does eventually get there, and they're going to be able to clean up the kill here on LirA, but it's very close and very risky as Febiven flashes over, and that stun was so close. You see Huni there, turns around, gets a smite for extra health, also gets a seismic shove, knocking them back, and escapes with his life.
So far so good, but still clutch. Find another kill for LirA and his Braves. Both junglers actually getting in on the action as all 3 kills in the game have gone to that position. Back in the bot side though, Altec and Adrian still pushing, but it doesn't look like too much has happened there. Slight family for Altec is nice, but again, a lot of kind of top side focus as LirA now going to get jumped on by Dardoch. It's time for a bit of payback. Grump does go over to LirA, but the flick back forward might steal LirA's fate. A jump back do a great combo there from EchoFox, but not enough to take down the Graves.
Ooh, definitely willing to invade, even if they've swapped roles there. Dardoch and Huni trying to use that power duo once again. Powered Bola kept him in place for the seismic shove, but Solo was around for some extra support, so not gonna have any blood at the end of that confrontation. Teleport to the bottom side as the ward is timing out.
Hakuho finds a 2-man knockup after the recombo, and now Solo gonna ground up the Lucian. They want the first kill, they'll take down Altec, and now Adrian is left for dead. Flicked back, no mana, no health, and Apollo grabs the double.
Nice timing on that teleport. They had Altec and Adrian far up in the lane, and the ward was about to die. Solo gets in there. Hakuho delays the duo long enough for the teleport channel to continue, and they're able to get it. All right, here we go. Another look at it. Altec and Adrian at the tower. Hakuho goes in. It's the Flash Recon ultimate with W. It's definitely easy to get to your targets, but well executed there for himself, and it allows Clutch Gaming some 2 very much needed kills there, as now they have 4-1, decently sized gold lead, but they're about to lose that bottom turret anyway.
Yeah, Huni's presence in bot side actually is enough to keep the wave pushing in the right direction and give EchoFox that first turret gold. Huni splits with Altec, I believe, for that 650, but still gold going to the carry we expect from Megafox. Maybe not in the position we expect as LirA face-checking Dardoch, but Dardoch has a couple of shrubberies to jump through. LirA, Adrian here, sorry, flashes forward. LirA, one more auto until the passive's going to proc, but Adrian can't quite find it. Huni, though, back up, uses his ult to get there quick. LirA going down, Adrian grabs the kill. Dardoch still resetting in the brush, and it's going to be carnage. Dardoch grabs solo.
Telling you, he has a lot of Rengar games there. Dardoch goes in for the double jump. They're able to finish off both kills. Actually, I thought they were just going to, finish LirA there with the one more auto attack left on that Braum passive the proc, but with the movement from Huni as well heading up, they get both of them, and Echo Fox striking back very quickly in this game.
And again, Huni using a lot of that early power, finished cooldown boots very quickly and then got to Runic Echoes and was just able to use that advantage, which is now just getting bigger as Echo Fox push ahead.
Yeah, that's one of the other buffs to AP junglers in the recent patch was Runic Echoes just got another flat 20 AP on it. So when you finish the item, you have a lot more burst damage. Here's the re-entrance though. Dardoch uses his ult leap onto the ward that's in a brush so he can use the second leap from the tri-brush to go for the kill. Just really well done right there, thinking ahead in the situation, and they finish off both of them. Little chuckle after that one as well.
Happy man, again, like you said, a lot of experience on the champion, clearly enjoying himself as Fox finding themselves up ahead in gold by about 1,000. Dardoch now still back in his 1v1. Thought he was just randomly taxing the wave for a second, but no, he is playing top lane this game. Down the bot side now, where solo, looks like a swap has happened as a result. Already got the bot tower thanks to Altec, Adrian, and Huni showing presence, and now Huni's back up here to maybe seal off the turret. As Altec jumps in, gets some poke into Apollo. Huni lining up a dive. LirA is in the back pocket though. Oh, and now maybe feeling some of the pressure. Huni takes down the boss cone. Well, it's going to put back, but he finds Apollo. Gets a shift out of him.
Taliyah does so much damage as you start to get into this phase of the game here. It really feels good to land those full combos. Apollo, though, is going to have to burn his flash as well because he was so low health. And just the threat there with Altec's ultimate from Lucian, they're able to get a lot of pressure on this top side, and it kind of forces a reaction from Clutch.
Yeah, Huni, I think maybe just waiting for his ult, if nothing else. They know they've got enough time to seal this off, but again, the dive happened. Looking for Huni, but Hakuho doesn't quite land the ulti.
Wow, what a flash there from Huni. Very quick. In the end, though, Apollo is kind of left by himself to defend this turret take.
Has a couple friends. LirA quick draws out from under the seismic shove, but damage is done. Pressure from Megafox gives themselves yet another turret, now 2-0 in that objective count. Plus,
leaves the bottom side there completely free for Dardoch. The top laner still has the dragons in mind. Still going to be able to clean those up for his team. He's got a Vamp Scepter, so should be able to sustain on it, even though it is doing a decent amount of damage. And Huni will come on, pass by, finish that one up for him.
Yep. Jungle instincts kick in for Dardoch, and Huni, the real jungler of this game for Fox, swoops down to just help out as Dardoch will collect credit for taking down Fox's second Ocean Drake of this game. And it does kind of feel like Clutch Gaming are finding themselves a little too far on the back foot. Tempo's staying high here for Fox. LirA tagged 3v2 though, but Altec does land the stun. Still no follow-up as the Crab could see a contest here.
Oh, everybody wants a Crab, but it's dangerous.
Get it?
I've seen a lot of people lose their lives over contesting mid-game Scuttle Crabs because it does scale up quite nicely. But nobody going to lose their lives there, just the Scuttle Crab going down.
Well, it looks like LirA got it, so he'll collect the benefits, but again, Fox is continuing to pile on pressure. Dardoch and solo, back to their tricks here in the bot side. A Black Cleaver already done for the Rengar solo. His first completion also finished, has a Ryze.
Yeah, Black Cleaver is so good, especially for top lane. Rengar gives you a little bit more health to work with, in addition to the move speed you're going to get with the passive. And Rengar's ultimate, when you jump out of it with your first attack, you do shred armor. And Black Cleaver, you're also going to be able to add to that shred, so definitely works nicely as far as trying to take down even targets like Singe, where solo, you kind of can stick around here with your Ryze and try and use the slow, but you cannot be close to a brush, because once the armor shred starts to stack up, Rengar can actually tear right through you. And you have to be even careful yourself as one of those tank champs.
Right now, I think team's just resetting things as Fox still holding firm with their 2,000 gold lead, bringing their duo into mid lane. Now to try and get some damage under that turret. Hakuho gonna take some damage, gets stunned, and eats a big chunk. The calling out, but Hakuho dances back behind a teammate. Gonna not take any further damage there from the ulti.
And look, you know, Dardoch here with the Rengar, level 11. His split push is taking over. They've got Fenix. Oh, never mind, mid.
Oh, Huni caught finally! Does actually get a trade kill onto Hakuho, but he loses his life to Apollo in the process.
Yeah, I was about to highlight the 1-3-1 from EchoFox where Fenix, which we haven't talked about all game on the Ryze with his teleport, was trying to push top side while Dardoch is pushing bottom side. Because it's a 1-for-1 trade, they can continue that 1-3-1 split.
Solo puts him away from the brush, but Fenix either stun there on the other side. Dardoch and Solo is still duking it out, but Dardoch, again, instincts kick back in as he takes down most of the Krugs in the exchange. Still the pressure here from Fox, despite a 1-for-1 trading kills, and Altec looking to take down the turret, needs one more wave. See if they have time to do it here, but it's been very chaotic in the mid game, and I think that's only going to get better or worse, depending on your viewpoint.
Well, I think the EchoFox really want to continue with that same plan. Even though, you know, they got picked there, Huni, you know, reacted very quick, able to get the counter kill. If they continue to split push, they've got the Taliyah wall. They can kill anyone who gets out of position. You know, especially with Rengar ultimate and Ryze ultimate also adding tons of mobility to their split pushers. Seems like they're well set up to execute what the goal should be, considering their draft here.
Well, again, pressure's continuing here through the mid game. As check in once more. This was a really close one.
Yeah, LirA on the side there. They're able to completely burst him down. Never mind. The counter kill coming through very quick though. In answered, almost didn't even get to see the burst. But as long as you start your Q from Taliyah, goes off while you're charmed up, and still is able to hit him with the rock.
Yeah, Hakuho was already low from Huni's earlier poke, so at least a trade there for Huni, who this time did not have a flash to get out from that situation. Hakuho landing true with the recombo this time around as Clutch Gaming look to reverse some of that pressure. Altec's going to call the mid lane wave here, and Clutch are still really searching for that first turret. Mid lane is the best one to get early on to really open up the map for yourselves, but like you said last game, the longer you can keep your turrets up, it's just so frustrating, and it is gold that you're taking away from your opponents.
Yeah, gold and space to work with, because if we look at it from Clutch Gaming's point of view, again, the Syndra and the Rakan, those are their big tools to try and get into this game here and find their kills. Those stuns that we just saw them use in mid lane, and the flashes that are available to them are what they want to try and use without giving, you know, the counter kills back, obviously, to the enemy team. And it makes it so much more difficult when all the outer turrets are standing, so you don't have any of those pockets of fog of war to try and get into a position and land a stun onto someone who's unsuspecting. You can see all the control wards here for Clutch Gaming are in defensive positions in their own jungle, and even there, they're getting cleared out.
Yep, they're going to get tagged, but again, the collapse is coming. Hakuho finds the combo, tagged by the ulti. That's actually enough from the Ignite. Dardoch put in the ulti, but I don't know if Fox have an angle to re-engage. Instead, Adrian forced to flash over the wall to safety.
All right, they got Huni this time around without giving anyone over. Hakuho again goes in with the Rakan. They close the distance, and Apollo's ultimate finishes it off there. A safer kill this time around, and now they've got the power play, an extra member to try and gain some ground back onto Summoner's Rift.
Yep, Solo and Dardoch still kind of split pushing their respective sides. I guess depends on where they are. Fenix, though, great damage there to Febiven, who's forced to burn the flash and now goes under his turret. Solo, though, also could be in a bit more trouble as Dardoch looking to try and take him down, but LirA here on the right-hand side with a ward there in the brush. Fox know that. And now again, Clutch look to reverse the pressure. Adrian going to get knocked off, but Altec untouched for now. Adrian low, but I think Hakuho may have gone a little too far forward. The Ignite is there, but not enough to take him down as Apollo almost snipes Altec. Here comes Fenix, though, again, flash forward, looks to rid of the pole, but he flashes out into Huni's waiting arms. A shutdown there for the Taliyah, and Hakuho forced to book it back towards the top side, but Dardoch also could come down. Oh, not quite off cooldown, but the root lands into Solo. Enough for the flick there by Huni, who just catches him on the edge of that CC, but looks like the player's off for now.
Oh, EchoFox, they split the map once again, and then the collapse comes in so quickly. The Ryze ult, the Taliyah ult, they close the trap, and now they can push on the last outer turret. Finish that one up while Dardoch finally get a kill on the turret.
The dive, Fenix just moves in and scoops it up. LirA does get a counter kill as he takes down Dardoch, burning his ult to do so, but in and amongst all of this chaos, Fox are 4,000 gold ahead. I mean, this game is being played pretty quickly, but it's EchoFox that are getting the gold and the dragons to give them the edge in the mid game.
Yeah, it's kind of classic EchoFox, so they're going for two objectives at once. They're turret diving on the top side so that's where the camera is. But they still clean up the mid turret. They actually kill the turret, they get their gold there, and switch over to the dragon afterwards to get way more out of the map than Clutch are able to get, even though LirA goes in, tries to flash there with Graves, and kills off Dardoch.
Close to 5k up now, but so much of that is being held in these turrets that Clutch haven't got just yet, despite getting some picks here and there.
Yeah, let's take another look at this, because this is like a race to kill the supports, but then afterwards, Apollo here, that last Q threading it through minions really caught Altec off guard. Wasn't enough to kill him, and you know, all of Echo Fox were collapsing there, but that was definitely a close duel between the duos there in the mid lane. In the end, though, again, Taliyah ultimate closes the distance, Ryze ultimate closes the distance, and it's all about using that mobility effectively.
Still more to come as well. Now Apollo going to have to run a long way down, but they found some kills first. LirA and Hakuho is still there, and LirA now pinned up against the wall, does dash over through the gap in the trees. Now the TP coming in, Clutch going to try and collapse solo, grounds a bunch of them, but Altec finally dashed out of the way. They get the flick with a stopwatch, they're going to keep Huni alive for a little while longer, but it just lines it up for Hakuho, who lands a W for the knockup, but still the trades are coming out as Fenix is ripping through the team. Damage still there, it's a mess. And that's a double in for Solo. He's alive for long enough to try and get the rest of them as Dardoch has got no sums left. CG 3 up, still looking to try and complete the ace, and Dardoch will get flinged back. LirA! Solo got his teammate killed.
He's not done yet.
He's still going again. Has some vision and going to try and do a little bit more for Febiven. Has to be so careful. He knows he can't get close to the Rengar, and Solo now just forced away. Does get the stun for Febiven. Finally seals the ace. Oh, but it was awfully close, Kobe.
I saw the YouTube highlight waiting to happen. I was already making the title. Dardoch 1v3s in the Driver, but they aren't able to pull it off. So close there in the end, and Clutch Gaming finished their ace, killing all 5 members of Echo Fox. Here's how it all started out, though. You know, they corner LirA in this blue buff here, but a really good teleport from Solo. Grounds 3, they get the Apollo ultimate over 3 as well, and then right as the stasis wears off, Hakuho got the double knock up there to hold them in place, and Fenix gets himself into a tough position there where, you know, Echo Fox are 2-1 basically split, while Dardoch was trying to make his way around behind. Here's again the 1v3, where he turns onto LirA, who you can see he's trying to stay kind of far away from the brush, but it's a little bit too close there. Dardoch finishes him off, use the empowered W to heal the damage back up. Also then able to turn here onto Solo and make it close to finishing off the second. Probably was really worried about Syndra's stun while he was right next to Solo, and he was like, maybe, you know, I'll be able to dodge this one and finish off the Syndra, but doesn't go for the second one there, and he knows how close that was to seeing his name in lights.
A little bit of deja vu. Echo Fox back to the scene of the crime around the blue buff, but Febiven, by the looks of things, did get it for himself. Don't forget, Clutch, despite finding a lot of good footholds in these team fights, are still about 4,000 gold down and without a turret in this game. So as chaotic and as crazy as everything looks, despite all the trading, Clutch do need to find a bigger window here on this map to make all these fights mean something, because right now it's just gold being traded.
Oh, here they go!
Hakuho again looks for the engage, flashes back on the Dardoch to get the charm, but Adrian's going to block a lot of that coming. Apollo low, but still not dead for Febiven in the front line. Pops the Zhonya's, but is going to get shut down by Fenix. Huni racing over.
Apollo did the classic teleport in lane while in combat there. He arcane shifted, and then he misclicked. I think he thought he had heal or something. The AD carry teleport right in the middle of the lane. In the end, though, it's still 4v5, and they have a chance.
Yep, Dardoch again moving through the brush around the Baron. Clutch need to be careful. Solo still cutting it out as Fox do disengage off the objective. No kills just yet, but Fenix finding roots. Scaling up pretty strong quietly on the rise.
Oh, all right. Clutch Gaming are able to stop the Baron. They desperately needed that that one there, because if the Baron goes over, then it really snowballs. And they had just done so well in the last previous team fight. It's definitely a close one here. Even though they're dealing with this gold deficit and they don't have control of any of the dragons, they definitely have potential, you know, burst down these champions from Echo Fox. Now they're being very careful around this brush.
Find Huni, LirA with a good sweeper. He's going to find these wards, and looks like Clutch Gaming now know that Fox have left the area, so should be able to clear out all of this vision, although we'll leave the control ward in mid, likely because they have some gold to go spend. So still advantage Fox, they move back out onto the map. Hakuho also cancels that recall. Huni gonna shut it off.
Oh, they might just do it.
They seal away the pit. I think it's too fast. Clutch caught on the recalls.
Baron has a lot more health now, so they might be able to get in there. 5,000 health.
LirA so far away though. Clutch gonna have to start a fight right now. Oh, look for a miracle steal. Baron low. Huni smites it away, but Hakuho gonna kick things off. They dive into the backline for the knockoff. Altec though, able to take him down. Adrian does fall to Febiven. 1-for-1, not too bad. Fox already got the Baron, but Dardoch may have dove a little too far forward. The old unforbidden, but Huni again finds a flick and takes down Solo's Fenix, who's providing the brunt of that DPS. He flashes in, looks for a root, but still the damage deals are up on both sides.
Yeah, Dardoch and Fenix aren't out yet.
LirA over the wall, looks for Apollo, finds it. Apollo with the gauntlet, needs to tag a couple. Fenix. Oh, good stun. They actually cancel the Ryze off, but Huni's actually back here looking for Apollo. Dardoch also dancing forward. It's Febiven. He's out of mana. The shield that keeps Fenix alive for way too long. And now he's going to pop the zonages. Huni did take down Apollo. Echo Fox. They lose Fenix, but they find so much more.
Oh man, Clutch Game, we're trying so hard right there, but the Baron buffs come in for Echo Fox. They're back out onto the field. They get their kills, and now they're going for the structures.
Well, they've got one. Baron still here, so easily able to take this down, and top inhib should be forfeit as well. It's only Hakuho and Solo to defend for 10 more seconds as Apollo is still coming off that first spawn. So Fox, they'll take the first inhibitor of this game, and again, despite how close these fights have been, Fox are just finding more and more gold.
All right, here we started off. You know, Adrian had an early Braum shield there to block the Syndra orbs from coming in, and I think the Rakan engage was a little bit early because, as you were mentioning, the DPS from Clutch was still, you know, maybe a second away from arriving. And during the Rakan engage, you need instant damage to come in after that because Rakan is so squishy. So Hakuho kind of goes down there very quickly, and then Clutch are trying to clean up the scraps. Huni on the mini-map, you can see, is going behind the Baron pit, walking back up for the possible counterplay here. And so he's able to force Apollo's Arcane Shift early in this, as well as the Summer Spells. And then, man, the Seraph's Embrace shield from Fenix into the stasis here delays so much time that Echo Fox are able to clean up all of the extra kills.
Crab goes down, another Drake being started. Clutch here, ready to start a fight, but don't have Solo. Drake already dead. So Echo Fox will make it 4 straight on that objective.
All right, Clutch Gaming, they are down the top inhibitor, and they are looking for opportunities now for Cinder Stun, Rakan combos to burst someone out. They do have a couple control wards in their jungle, but it doesn't look like Echo Fox will go anywhere but straight through the lane. Double banners, one on the cannon, one even on the range minion here.
Syndra says no. One's going to get taken down. The turret will live not as long as that cannon minion, as it turned out. As Echo Fox still going to take another inhib. Huni, another great wall angle, and Apollo actually forced to shift over back to safety. Wave though does get taken down. Wizard minion finally down, but Hakuho finds a big one, gets a 4-man charm at the end of it all. Huni in the front side pops his own, but he's dead, so Apollo is clutch. Actually defend and find a kill.
That's pretty big for Echo Fox, though. For Clutch Gaming, they take down Huni, both stopwatches, finding a lot of value there for Echo Fox, though. All right, Clutch, now that they have the power play, they have to use it to clean up minions. Because of the super minions come on top side, because of the Baron empowered pushes that Echo Fox are applying, they're going to have to do kind of cleanup duty, but they're so glad to be able to do that and get some money back for themselves. Clutch, they're trying to buy that time, and they're able to do a little bit of it here.
They're going to need a ton of it as well. About 9,000 gold down still as the game is crested past the 31-minute mark for the first time today.
Let's take a look at this, because Hakuho comes up big for Clutch Gaming. They need these big bursts to come down. Even though Adrian got the Braum shield up there and blocked a lot of it, it was Huni on the top side right in front of the tower that got locked up, and even after the Zhonya's immediately taken down there. 5,000 gold, extra Baron power play there for Echo Fox, though.
It's a lot, but Clutch, finding that 2-man stun from Febiven, Hakuho able to easily follow that all up, and it's just looking better as the game goes on. Again, despite the monumental difference in gold between these two teams, despite basically nothing, not even a shred of map control currently for Clutch. As long as they can keep defending and finding our items, you said it already, Kobe, gold just means more items. Once you're full, the game starts to feel a lot more even, but Fox have been close to flawless with how their execution has been. That last tick up in bot lane, though, could reverse their fortune.
All right, super minions trying to kill off the top wave right now for Echo Fox, so they should be patient. Whereas Clutch Gaming, they want the spark to occur early. They want someone to step just outside of line, so Hakuho can punish them, or Febiven can punish them there with a Syndra stun. They need something to happen quickly, or else the pressure is just going to continue to mount from all sides here. Already, Febiven has to go answer the top side minions.
Yeah, Huni again going to cut off solo. The wave is going to fall down. Apollo forward. Looking to try and get some damage done. But
We entered the Matrix!
But I said it was deja vu already. So certainly, there may or may not be a glitch. But those are some surprise-looking faces, and they're going to match mine. You'll see in a second, because I don't have a good answer for you, Kobe.
I mean, we'll definitely investigate and get to the bottom of this. Quick pause, try and figure out what happened here. But yeah, it was kind of on the doorstep here for Echo Fox. If they get one more inhibitor, it becomes super difficult for Clutch Gaming to deal with all of these threats. And Clutch Gaming, they had been winning little bits of team fights here and there, you know, coming out with a couple of extra kills and trying to find their opening back into this game. But the big mistake just hasn't occurred from Echo Fox to allow Clutch to really turn it around yet.
And just to let you know, Echo Fox has paused the game, so we'll let you know more details as we get them. But you can't see the scoreboard right now. I'll paint a picture for you instead as you're listening. It looks pretty close when you look at the kills. They're exactly 15 apiece right now. But then you look at the gold, and you look over on the other side. Echo Fox are 10,000 gold ahead, and it's 4 Drakes and 7 turrets that is basically building up all that difference. Like, again, despite all the action, despite how Clutch are going toe-to-toe with a very impressive team known for individual talent on their roster, it's just Echo Fox's solid play that's gotten them advantage after advantage in all the chaos that we've seen.
And what I think should be highlighted for this game is how good Echo Fox are looking with role-swapped members. That should be such a mind-expanding kind of brain-blown sort of moment here where it's a pro game. Huni and Dardoch swap roles. They're laughing, on the cams after all the plays and everything. But Dardoch's Rengar has been quite good from the top side, despite getting the multiple ganks on top and giving up that first blood. And Huni's mechanics here, especially on the Taliyah, have also been on point, even though the enemy team consistently is diving onto him, looking for the recon engages and looking for the focus. So it's just cool to me that during this time of increased variability in the strategies that are available and all the flex coming through, that the players, at least some of the players, are still able to find a lot of success here. They've had a role swap, they're picking up different champions, and they actually have looked good for a large majority of doing it.
And you know what? It's time to get investigating. You got a week now once this one ends, and you have to think, okay, look at Fenix and look at Adrian. What do they play in the top lane? Because he banned the Mundo, and then Dardoch magically found himself there on the Rengar. So you got to find what else is going on. Maybe Adrian Riven's going to be hanging out. Maybe, I don't know what Fenix has going on. Maybe he'll just play Ryze or something. But at this point, Huni's just happily leaving lane. If everyone else on the team can get on board, and so far in the 2 games we've seen, they've certainly been able to, then that's the kind of flexibility that a team would love to have, given how many unique champions we've been seeing.
Yeah, it's such a big thing because everyone looks at Huni and they're like, oh my God, this guy is so good in so many different ways. But it really is, you have to have 2 parts of that. Your other members that are giving up their roles for you have to also be able to adequately fill the top lane hole that's being left if Huni's wants to play the map, So Altec yesterday, definitely deserving of his player of the game, Mundo. He had really enjoyed his flexible time and swapping roles there. Dardoch this time around, giving up his role for Huni. It does make you wonder if the entire team is going to take their turns. To me, it feels like even though, Fenix would probably be the least likely. You're like, he really wants mid or whatever. Solo lane, he could easily switch up the top lane too. And then it would just be Adrian in support, where you think it's probably the least likely that Huni would want to swap into.
Well, we'll have to see. But for now, we're going to toss things over to the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Both teams DCing from the game, awaiting further investigation before a ruling is made here. That gives us some time to talk about Perfect. Whatever the heck we just saw on screen there. I mean,
jungle,
Huni,
top.
2 games here in Summer Split, both of which not in his attributed role of top lane. Bot lane yesterday, jungle this time around, which pushes Dardoch onto the Rengar in the top.
Yeah, Jack kind of called that he's probably going to play 4 positions, 2 down, 2 to go.
And he still doesn't play top.
Yeah, he still doesn't play top. So he just needs that
position.
mid or support. But this was interesting because it did feel a little bit more like a Dardoch swap than a Huni swap. With top Rengar seeing some higher play rates on 8-11 and things like that. They also, a while ago, changed the Rengar to be back to the targeted queue, stuff like that. It feels like there's been more strength in the champion, and that's, you know, Dardoch's wheelhouse is on Rengar.
Yeah, based on solo queue win rates that you can find online, top Rengar has a higher win rate than jungle Rengar. And if you're going to say who's the Rengar player on Echo Fox, it would definitely be Dardoch. However, you can see they focus him early. He actually, you can tell it's a team call here to go back in, try and bait a little bit and get some damage down, but he takes a little bit too much damage on the way out. However, by getting the flash out of LirA, he all but kind of confirms the kill for his team, and this is where you see his Rengar mechanics.
Yeah, he starts turning this game around despite that rough start. The ward jump there, onto the next target, onto LirA, finishes him off, gets the Triumph heal as well, and then he's able to stay alive through this. They get another kill. This is pretty impressive for Dardoch to not be in his real position, get set behind with jungler pressure and ganks, and then to be able to bounce back is really cool. And then you kind of saw the rest of the team comp start working together with the 1-3-1 that they were looking to do.
Yeah, and they once the laning phase ends, they still play like they would always play, as long as you're comfortable on a champion. Huni's actually very comfortable on mages. We know Dardoch is very comfortable on Rengar. So as long as they escape that early place where Dardoch died a few times in lane, but Huni had good farm on Taliyah, then they're fine. Then it's just Echo Fox as usual, but they're able to play all of their champions with a lot of familiarity.
And that's where the big question will remain, though, is how much are you sacrificing in the early game when you're putting Dardoch in an unfamiliar lane, you're putting Huni in an unfamiliar position to some degree, and are you giving away too much that then you can't claw it back once you get to that mid game?
Yeah, and my answer right now is no, because you'd be giving up more if you're putting a player on a champion they can't play. Right? Then you're never going to be able to deal with the team fights. And it's a lot of speculation as to who would be who.
Let me ask you, okay, go ahead.
And just to finish it off, Taliyah was up. So Taliyah is one of the highest priority
almost always red side banned.
It's almost always banned. They left it up. The enemy team didn't first pick it. You don't want to let them get it back. So that's why you might see this have happened.
Obviously, we don't have all of the champion pool information for every player, but my next question would be, is there not a case in which Dardoch should just be the one playing the Taliyah in the jungle, and Huni should just play a top lane champion that he is very proficient in against that Singed, and maybe not give up a couple early kills in the way that he did?
I mean, that's a totally fair question. And who knows, because Dardoch famously didn't really like Skarner for a long time. Skarner, highest priority jungler, just didn't play it, didn't want to learn it, or maybe couldn't learn it, whatever it was. And it could be a similar thing here with Taliyah. It's hard to say.
Yeah, if I had to guess, I would say Huni's always been the mage player, and with Taliyah nerfs coming in at 8.12, maybe Dardoch just didn't want to put the games in because he would have played it somewhere else, and he knows how to play Rengar. Because in a perfect League of Legends world, everyone is perfectly expert on every champion.
On every champion.
Right? And in this situation, or in any situation on this patch, players' practice on champions is more tested than ever before. Usually it's in the bot lane. Echo Fox is now kind of questioning the other.
And not to put too much weight on Twitter facts, but when the Taliyah jungle started seeing play, Dardoch might have been the most vocal jungler in North America being like, I hate that Taliyah's a jungler now. And so we've learned with the Sven tweets that maybe you can read into a little bit, the C9 tweets maybe a little bit, and so once again, maybe Dardoch really just doesn't like playing Taliyah jungle.
And as well, you could probably attest to this, being a former coach, that for players too, there's a great deal of being efficient with your practice on champions, right? Okay, Taliyah's the new hotness, but is it worth investing 30, 40, however many games I need to play on a champion I've never really played before in order to become proficient, only to see her maybe fall back out of the meta, you know, some couple weeks down the line in professional play?
And Jad and I were talking off camera about like, well, how would you practice in the current meta? And what we were saying was like, just play your academy team. Don't let games go past 15 minutes. You got to learn matchups, got to learn what works and how. And so, you know, the late game 1-3-1 strategy that they're currently employing, they've done that for a long time. And so it's much more important to get the games in on the different picks.
Once you have a lead right now, it seems fairly straightforward in terms of how you close the game. So then your argument is that it's more important to figure out how you're going to create those early leads at that 15-minute mark with all of these new champions and matchups that we've never seen played before.
The bigger pair of unknowns, like late game closing the game out. Rift Herald's crazy, Baron's still crazy, Banner of Command, like, okay, that's still somewhat known versus like, what the hell are these bot lane matchups? Like, and that feels like a bigger area to tackle.
Yeah, I think that's an argument you can make, especially if you're unsure of it or if you need more practice on those matchups. It depends like where your skill sets are going to lie. One analogy, and I'm still working through this, Dash.
Oh, good. I can't wait.
Let's go.
Yeah. Okay, so every player, and this is true in all sports, has a skill set that they have developed, right? Marksman players, generally speaking, have developed the skill set on marksman and orb walking, but haven't developed the same skill set on anything else. It's akin to a football team. Wide receivers and running backs develop different skill sets. They have different attributes. They can both do both, right? To a certain level. Like some receivers are really good at juking, some running backs are great receivers. But if you want to run a different set, you want to run 4 wide receivers, you're not just taking your running backs and throwing them out wide.
Right.
But that's what League of Legends players are being forced to do right now. The AD carries are being forced to play mages when they've never developed that skill set. So that's why it's super important to know what your skill sets are. Some teams have the wide receiver who played QB in high school so they can run a reverse and still have him throw it 30 yards down the field.
But even then, you're not going to do it every game. It's one of those things you pull out every once in a while.
Just to run with the analogy some further, people think sports rules don't change. They changed the way you guard receivers way back in like the mid-2000s, and suddenly everyone's throwing for over 5,000 yards, and skill sets like running backs who can catch the ball out of the backfield, way more valuable. Same kind of thing right now. If you're an AD carry main who's now a bot lane carry and has to play Brand and Swain and things like that, your skill set's more valuable. And that's something that happens, despite what people think, in pro sports all the time.
Now, up to this point, we haven't talked too much about Clutch. We've been mostly Echo Fox focused in the discussion of this game, but I do want to talk about the Clutch Gaming roster, and in particular, LirA. Of course, it's just 2 games here in the summer split so far, and midway through the second game, but this is a guy that upon his introduction to the NALCS, there was so much hype around the skill of this player, and he did perform to a very solid degree. Kind of fell off. A lot of criticism gets thrown his way. Perhaps he's the problem. And then 2 games so far, he's looked fairly dominant in the jungle and his control.
Yeah, and I think this is interesting because I think LirA has looked much better in these 2 games than he did almost all of the other split. However, in some of our speculation, hearing what Clutch was saying about each other, Febiven wanted to control the pace of the game last split, right? He wanted LirA in a specific place, playing a specific way to unlock Febiven to succeed. And it worked. Febiven had a great split. They made it all the way, to the 3rd place match into Game 5 of the semifinals, and LirA was bad. LirA's looked great these 2 games. You know who's looked bad, though?
Yeah, Febiven.
Right?
Well, yesterday, the
doing his
Lulu.
own thing,
Yep.
it does still change the dynamic.
Yeah, and the meta's different. Febiven talking about that slower pace style that we heard he probably wants.
He's listening to us right now.
I don't know about that, or if he's just like, when do I get to play League of Legends again?
Yeah.
That would be the biggest troll when they just like, oh yeah, you guys.
Oh, he's out. He heard it. He's coming to yell at
That's
us.
it.
He's mad.
Yeah,
they're both coming.
They're going to raid the analyst desk. How dare you?
Apollo can't stop them. He's laughing. He's giving up. But to the point that the meta is just a lot faster, and so if they were battling about which playstyle to go with, LirA versus Febiven's, if they don't totally align, it's definitely more in the LirA camp this time with all the level 2 ganks and that kind of thing.
Outside of all these discussions, I kind of want to dive back into some of the gameplay because from the point where we left off, I mean, it was just craziness upon craziness, wacky plays upon wacky play within this game, it seemed like, again, this idea that while people are on champions and in matchups that they don't completely understand, it makes for some very hilarious skirmishes.
Yeah.
Or they're just not used to playing against Rengar. Like, this fight in particular was so close to being super tragic for Echo Fox right here, because it looks like it's turning around. They double Zonias, but that's right into a beautiful re-engage.
Pulling hits no one, 2 people die.
But watch Dardoch here. Like, he's so close. I thought maybe he'd flash over. Oh, and then we skip ahead. What was happening is this funny game where no one wanted to run too close to a brush. And then eventually, Singe flipped him into a brush that allowed Dardoch to jump onto LirA.
And then once again here, Solo and Febiven are just too scared to walk up.
Kobe said it was about to be a highlight reel play.
Yeah. And it's just so funny. It's been happening all weekend.
Man.
Here again, like, the stun out of the TP forces them to turn back onto him, but the rest of Clutch was expecting the TP to come through. So
right, let him take that.
Yeah, now
double kill him.
Now Febiven's all alone. He's going to get chased down and finished off. LirA sticks around to get the kill, but that's going to cost him his life. There was also the TP by Apollo in the mid lane, thinking he didn't have TP, trying to heal or ignite or something.
And also, that Ryze ult was like this far away. He's level 16. He can go so much farther than that. He's like, actually, no, I could only click that far away, guys.
Well, so maybe it was just a really big bait. It was.
I would
Phoenix
love to
just
think
like
that would be amazing.
4D chess, mind gaming the heck out of them. But again, that brings us to a place where we're still relatively even. And it's kind of wonky or tough to look at from an analytical sense when you're saying like, well, where does the strategy in all of this? Well, I mean, when you watch those plays, where is the actual strategy? Can you actually pinpoint a moment where the team discussed what is the next thing we're doing besides just fighting?
In those specific highlights, which we pulled to laugh about, no. But I think in other moments in the game,
fair enough,
very much so. There was a skirmish in the mid lane that happened between the two bot lanes that had swapped there for the control, and then because Echo Fox has more global tools with this 1-3-1, they collapsed first and capitalized on a very close skirmish. So they're still executing on their main game plan, and it does get a little crazy when it breaks down like that, but they still are very much playing to a certain specific strategy.
Yeah, and I mean, I think when you're trying to see how team fights are happening, you're never in a place where like, oh yeah, we should have planned out this whole team fight from start to finish, and then you're gonna loop around to get to the Ryze or the Rengar and make it happen. The plays before that are where the setup is actually happening.
All right, well, while the technical issue is continued to be investigated on stage, we're going to step away from